Guys, you guys have been wanting a video on the color codes and everything for aftermarket amplifier in Mitsubishi Outlander. I'm going to show you how I am amplifying the factory speakers, what my remote turn on, my ground, and my constant are behind the stereo, and this is it right here, okay? So, on this wire, or on this connector, which is your main connector, which is this one, here on the back of the stereo, okay, you're going to have a red wire, which is going to be your constant, okay, not your memory, but your constant, so that goes straight to the battery. This black wire is going to be your ground. This green one back here is going to be your remote turn on, okay. All right, now the color codes coming from the back of the stereo to the speakers are, now this is where it gets confusing because I can't tell you exactly which one the left side of the vehicle is between the front and the rear, but I can tell you how to figure that out. So the yellow is going to be positive, is what I believe. Okay, now you'll know the difference when you go to test it the way I recommend to test it. You'll be able to hear whether it's in phase or it's out of phase. So the best way to do that is to grab a battery from a drill. If you don't have a battery from a drill, just get some long wire and put the positive and negative on the terminals of your batteries, and then run that into the vehicle so that you can have a positive and negative with about 12 volts. You could do it with an 18 volt battery. Definitely don't do it with a 24 volt battery. I wouldn't recommend it with an 18 volt battery because at that point you're kind of melting shit. So you're going to take the wire, the bare wire on these green and yellow, okay, and green and yellow. This is going to be your left rear and your left front output, okay, to the speakers and the doors. Okay, so don't do this with it already still attached to the stereo, and don't do it with your high-low adapter, you know, if you haven't already cut and spliced. So basically there's not, this high-low is already in between, you know, these have already been done, so I know the color codes. But what you do is you take the positive and negative of the battery and just real quick, and then you'll hear the speaker pop and you'll find out whether it's the left front or the left rear. But that's only with these green and yellow, because these are the door color speakers for the left side of the vehicle, okay? So you're going to have yellow and green, that's all going to be the left side. The right side is going to be, right rear is going to be brown and white out of that harness, okay? And then the right front is going to be pink and blue. I'd like to say that the blue is positive, but I can't tell, okay? I can't remember. I do know that it's hooked up correctly on my system. When I did this, I don't know if when I had it in phase correctly or if I had to flip the wires at the amplifier, but that's the nice thing about it. So as long as you've got leads coming from these, you know, if you get it all playing and it's reverse phase, then you just simply swap the positive and the negative on the amplifier, because either way, it doesn't matter if the speaker's playing forward or in reverse, as long as you're not cranking it, you know, until you find out and you correct the problem. So those are the color codes. I will tell you what, if you don't know what you're doing, do not do it. And even though I knew what I was doing, testing out all these wires, trying to find these correct wires, I ended up blowing my fuse. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I shorted something between it and the fuse box. But the fuse box fuse did not blow. Something behind that either blew, or you know, I don't know the whole wiring diagram on the vehicle, but I can tell you that I had to bypass the battery turn on. So later on behind this, I actually have another power on that's keeping that wire alive, because I ended up fucking it up. So if you can, I would suggest cutting power at the battery, so take the terminal off, that way you're not shorting shit. Double check all your wiring, make sure you leave no bare wires. I would recommend heat shrinking and soldering if you can.